future is here. You now have the power to unlock the secrets of the hobby. An innovation that will change the way the industry works. The game changer is here. Card Ladder.
Hey everyone, this is Josh back with Cardboard Chronicles. Today I'm here with Andy from Indy Card Exchange. How's it going, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Ready to talk some cards. So I had the interview with David last, and then he kind of nominated you after the interview, and I thought that was a kind of a fun idea. So let's just go for it.
Sounds good. Thanks, David. Love Riverfront Collectibles. He's a great guy.
Why don't you start off, Andy, and just tell us about yourself and your background in the hobby?
Sure. So I'm 41, about to be 42 in the next month or two. Been collecting cards since I was 10 years old, and I'm one of those that just never lost the love. Kept going and going and going since I was 10 years old. Traded, bought, sold, flipped before it was the cool thing to do when I was in high school and even in college. 1988 was my first year of collecting, and thankfully I was a basketball collector, not a baseball collector. So in 1988, Fleer basketball is how everything got started for me. My grandmother bought me a sealed box of 88 Fleer, not sealed, but an unopened box of 88 Fleer basketball for Christmas. And I just got hooked. I loved it. And I got Michael Jordans and Scottie Pippens and all that fun stuff. And I still have the original Michael Jordan 88 Fleer card that I got from my grandma at Christmas when I was 10 years old. So that got the passion started. Then I grew up as a high school kid through the mid to late 90s. So the Kobe Bryant era kicked in, and I was a huge Kobe fan, collecting him. So I've got, a good Jordan PC. I've got a good Kobe PC, and moved out of here. I moved down to Indianapolis. I grew up in northern Indiana, moved down to Indianapolis after college, and found the local card shop literally in the first week of moving to Indianapolis, which is what does everybody do when they move to a new place, right? If you're a collector, find your LCS. So I went to this LCS and just struck up a really good friendship with the original owner. He and I was probably his number one customer for at least 10 years, I would say, or more. And in May of 2012, he was kind of wanting to, I guess, get into that retirement mode because he was in his mid 60s and stuff. And I proposed an offer to him, and we made a deal. So May of 2012, I bought the Indy Card Exchange, and I've been the owner for 8.5 years almost now. So it's been great. I wouldn't trade it for anything. 4 kids, wife. Crazy life. Life is insane right now, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got the family, the kids, you own a sports shop. Like you must just have no free time to.
There is no free time. If there's free time, it's home, helping kids get fed and to bed, and making sure my wife gets a little bit of a break, because she definitely needs it and deserves it for sure.
Right. How's the sports shop going right now? Obviously, like the boom is happening in the sports cards. Are you seeing that at your shop?
Oh my word. Yeah. Yeah. It's a boom in so many different ways to explain right now. I mean, during COVID season, we were obviously shut down because we're considered non-essential, but we were doing online breaks on YouTube and on Instagram. That was going really successfully. The hardest part was trying to get enough product in because nobody was making new stuff. So we were just scrambling, and just like everybody out there nationwide, scrambling to try to get any product that they had available, previously Prism stuff and Optic and whatever you could get, baseball, football, basketball. That's what we were trying to do. So we were able to get it. We were able to sell it, keep the thing moving, and then able to basically establish a new bucket of business with the online live breaks. So my goal is to do that moving forward. The shop just reopened about 8 to 9 weeks ago. And I think it was early May. And we have not broken hardly at all because the shop has been so physically busy with people coming in and out to the point of needing to actually schedule appointments for. We do a lot of grading consultation because we work with both PSA and Beckett. We do buying collections, obviously. We're looking at people's stuff. We're trying to I want to be the best consultant I can because I'm trying to help people create value, add value, determine value, and figure out what to do right? So they rely on people like us that own LCS, and we're trying to do everything above board and as trustworthy as possible to help people basically make as much as they can during this big boom that we're all experiencing. So it's been a blast, Josh. It's just, I've been telling so many people that I literally consider me like I'm drinking from a fire hose right now because it's just too much to ingest at the moment. It's crazy.
Did you hear David and I talk about how like it's kind of on people like us to, welcome these new people? And you kind of hinted at it, like people that come into your shop, you're trying to like keep them in long term, and you don't want to, steal from them, or you don't want to screw them. And the best way to keep them and keep the hobby growing is doing what you're talking about and kind of helping
100%.
them through it.
You're exactly right. I mean, we always try to do everything with integrity and transparency, because I'm going to tell, the way I buy collections from people is we look things up. I do it together with those people, and I say, listen, here's what this collection is worth. The current market value. We're not going by Beckett. We're not going by sales from a year ago. We're going by current market value, and here's what it's worth, and here's what I need to pay for it so that I can still make a little money too, because obviously it's a business, and everybody understands that. I mean, they get it.
Yeah.
And they have the choice to say yes or no. So I really want to educate people. Education in this hobby is vital at the moment because, again, you're drinking from a fire hose. I know I say that all the time. You'll probably hear me say it 20 times during this interview, but you have to be able to kind of pick and choose what you're doing, how you're doing it, what direction you want to go, what's your ultimate goal. I mean, there's just so many different questions I like to ask people before we even get the ball rolling. Because honestly, Josh, 2 to 3 customers a day, I either get phone calls or walk-ins of people that are either quote unquote back in the hobby or have seen how it's fun and exciting and opening packs and online breaks are going on. And they're just like, I want a piece of this. I want to be in. So, we are constantly educating on a daily basis.
Well, the hobby thanks your service, because it's, I talk about it every episode pretty much, and it's so important. So let's talk about your collection then. So what do you collect? Step away from the shop stuff, and what do you like to collect?
Well, my favorite one that most people who follow us or know who I am is Michael Jordan insert cards. I love the 90s inserts. I've been a 90s insert junkie since the 90s and have built up a pretty nice little hefty collection that will hopefully pay for college for a couple of my multiple kids that I have. So, I love collecting them. It's a slow roll that's been happening for 25 years or so for me. And you pick off one at a time, a little bit here, a little bit there. I was going to bring a lot of them. I did an interview with Slab Stocks, and he got to see a few of them, if you guys have seen any of those. And I brought a few that you're going to be able to see, and the viewers will see that weren't on that kind of interview. But I just love Michael Jordan inserts. I've been a huge Jordan fan, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes, I'm sure, too. But I love MJ. I've grown up with him. I grew up in northern Indiana, so being a Bulls fan was kind of just commonplace during the 90s. But yeah, it's a blast. I still collect a lot of Kobe's. I'm a huge Notre Dame football fan because I grew up in South Bend area. So I collect players who played for Notre Dame that are in the NFL right now, but I always collect them in their Notre Dame uniform so that it keeps things a little more finite, because you know how many products could be released out with those guys in their NFL uniforms. So just those are my collections. I'm still going to be a collector at heart. I've got the old 86 Fleer. I've got an entire PSA 9 complete set. I will not get rid of that until probably who knows when. That'll be like the last thing I want to get rid of. But just certain things like that as a collector, you don't want to get rid of that stuff. There's the investment side that I'm definitely heavy involved in that as well. But gosh, if you don't collect, then what kind of fun are you having in this hobby? Right?
Yeah. 100%.
So yeah, the MJ is my big PC. Yep.
And you've probably been more successful because you're a collector, right?
Oh, no question. Because you're able to kind of pinpoint and identify what you really look for. And if it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, you're still a collector at heart. I mean, the Notre Dame collection is worthless to me as far as value. I mean, I got too many Brady Quinns and Jimmy Clausens to shake a stick at, unfortunately. But, it's fun. And I can still talk about it because I got to go to those games and see those guys play because my dad is a season ticket holder there. And it's a blast. We have a great time collecting that stuff, talking about it. And when you're a collector, probably the number one thing that overtakes value is a story behind it, right? You want to be able to tell the story. Here's how I got it. Here's why I have it. I don't really care that it's a $2 card or a $2,000 card. This is the story that goes with it.
Yeah. The guys that walk into your shop, you said 2 to 3 times a day, and they're asking about joining. Yeah. I would imagine a lot are talking about, how to make money. What do you say to those people when that's kind of the first thing they say to you?
Yeah. I tell them that it's not an overnight success. That's my first thing. people think that they can literally just buy right away and they're going to open and get the Zion Silver and it grades a PSA 10 overnight. So they're going to make $2,000. It's just not that easy. So I really go back to what I said earlier is I want to start from scratch. I want to determine what their ultimate goals are. What sport do you like? Are there teams that you're going to want to work and collect or invest in? Are there players? Are there certain sets? Everybody wants Prism. Everybody wants Select. Everybody wants Optic. Everybody wants NT. Well, okay, let's do that. But you're part of a massive ocean of people that also want to do this now too. So my goal is if we're trying to make money, I'm there for you. I'm a business person myself, so I'm trying to make money as well. And I love this hobby, so we can work at it together. It's a matter of having the time to be able to educate and consult with those type of people. But we do our absolute best to make sure we help people be successful, because that only brings them back into my shop too. So things to me, again, I'm a king of one-liners. I always tell people it's a marathon, not a sprint in this business, right? Mm-hmm. You can't sprint and have the finish in 6 months, because things are not going to be ultimately successful in 6 months. It's a marathon. Hang on to a few Zions, hang on to a few Mahomes, sell some of them, because that helps feed your habit and feed your investing, right? So There's just so much to it. But yeah, it's a one-on-one consultation, because every person's different in what they want to do and how they want to do it.
Yeah, it's hard because people, especially with Instagram, they see these giant PCs and then they, people will DM me like, how do you get something like that? And it's like you said, it's not a sprint. This takes time. All those people that you see that have those crazy PCs have been in it for 5+ years.
But not only that, Josh, they also have some failures too. We all have had our failure investments. I mean, people laugh at me, they're local customers, because I was so big on Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, the kid from Kentucky. I had the best MKG collection. I put myself up there with Jimmy Mahan at Kentucky Basketball Cards. That's how good of a collection I had. I lost my shorts on Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I lost my shorts on Jabari Parker. There's just certain guys you think are going to be good. You have hopes for them, and they were big flops. But I also like this guy named Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2013, and that's been pretty profitable for me as well. So there's just a lot of things that you're going to win on some and lose on some, and you just hope that the wins outweigh the losses, just like a stock market.
For sure. So what is like the big difference between investors and collectors right now? Are you concerned with the amount of investors we have coming in, or are you feeling good about the overall landscape of the hobby with collectors? How do you feel about that?
Well, it's again, back to, it's two different buckets. The investors, bring them on. I mean, I want it, the more that come in, obviously the more revenue that's being distributed throughout the hobby. I think the investor people are looking at graded cards. We all know PSA is kind of the number one grading company because they own 70+% of the market. Beckett's number 2, but investing truly is a grading game, because if you're investing, you want something that you have a quantifiable, finite number of cards that you can really track, right? And you guys all have your card ladder set up, guys, that you did with Chris is awesome. I mean, I love watching that, because people are able to truly quantifiably track how many are there out there, what's the value discrepancy, and how much are they growing or how much are they depreciating. So the investor side of the market, bring it on. I hope there's hundreds of millions of dollars that get poured into this hobby, because it helps all of us, right? For a collector, it's getting more difficult because it's more expensive. All your boxes of cards that you wanted to open and build sets with are very difficult. I wish that there were some products that could be very much more collector friendly. I mean, even a base top Series 2 box of jumbo right now, or Series 1 jumbo, you're pushing close to $200 a box. Those things used to be $100 and $110 a box. So these guys that just want to build their sets, it's very difficult for them. So we try to figure out how can we help them. We buy big bulk collections and have a 5-count super monster box so that they can build their sets without having to spend the $200, right? Yeah. So we definitely try to cater to every bucket of business. There's the old gambler. The gambler is the guy that's buying spots online and trying to hit the Pelicans, spending $2,000 and getting blanked. That just makes me cringe. Those are cringeworthy moments for me to hear about, because I hurt for them. I want them to succeed, but you can only do that so many times, right? But for the investors, it's great. I hope it continues to grow. I love all the guys that are up top that are encouraging the hobby. I just hope they continue to do it the right way. The people who have the money, who are encouraging the people with money. I mean, I'm hearing people like celebrities that are getting heavily involved. If they're involved, they're using money that they're having fun with, right? we're using our hard-earned money right now that we are scraping and clawing and trying to continue to grow our collections and our investments. But those people jump in. There's aren't going to be enough PSA 10 Giannis Prism rookies or Topps Chrome 0304 LeBron rookies and things like that in PSA 10 form. So the more the merrier. That's a long-winded answer, but the more the merrier, in my opinion.
Chris and I were talking about sort of like where we are in the graph of growth in the hobby, and we kind of feel like we're in the like we're getting close though. We're in like the pre-public mania phase where like celebrities jump in and there's more articles, there's more media coverage. And, you know, we've got that LeBron RPA going up right now. There's going to be a lot of articles about that coming out. And it's just like TMZ is covering it. There's all this, you know, it's kind of building slowly, but it feels like it's, like you said, we're getting celebrities, like the football player that I interviewed. There's like a lot of that kind of going on.
Gerard Mayo, right? The one who played for the Patriots. Yeah, that was really cool. That was really cool. Fun to see. So, and it's, let's have some fun with it. Let's continue to help and educate. And if they continue to buy, who knows what they're going to do with their stuff, but people are buying 100 of one item. That stuff, I'm a diversifier. Let's put it that way. People buy 200 of a Giannis or 100 of a Zion. I'm not a big believer in that. I want to have 5 of each one, you know, so that I keep my portfolio a little bit more diversified when it comes to the investing side of the game. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, but if you're all in, you're all eggs in one basket type investor, that's scary. And I've told people that too. Like even when you talk about people walking in, don't go buy 50 Zion PSA 10 Prisms right now. Please don't. Buy 4 of them and go after a few other guys that you can mitigate your risk a little bit.
Totally. Have you heard me talk about zagging?
No, what's that?
David brought it up. So we've got this new like thing that we call it zagging. It's like you try to find something because like there's so many people coming in right now, and there's so much attention, there's so much social media. You kind of see a lot of the same moves kind of over and over. Like people will buy PSA 10 Giannis or Zion, like you said, and we're looking for the zag where it's like, what is no one else doing right now? What's like a big zag for you right now?
Oh, that's a great question. I've got a big zag, and it's a modern zag too. Like, so I don't mind publicizing this because I'm buying it and I'll continue to buy it. But what I loved about this year's 1920 Prism was the hanger box base variation cards, rookie cards. The Zion, where he's got the one hand up from the ball, the Ja Morant, the Kobe White with the one leg up. Those were the cards that I thought, that's a zag right there. Everybody's going after the base rookie PSA 10s. You look at pop reports, Josh, there's still only to this day 300 of those Zion PSA 10s of the Prism photo variation from the hanger box. It's the true base variation. It's not the fast break with the bubble discos. I'm sure a lot of people, you might have pictures you can show up while we're on our interview, but I have invested about a dozen of each of those players. So I have a dozen of all the key rookies in PSA 10 form, and I'm just going to hang on to those because there's the zag, in my opinion, because the demand is going to far outweigh the supply that's available out there.
Totally. And the picture looks better.
Yeah, they do, but they're harder to grade too because Panini, I don't know what printing press they were using for those cards, but somebody was either drunk, blind, or what, but there are so many cards that are messed up in that set. The rookie outline logo and their heads are, the logo is about a half an inch off of the regular rookie logo where it's supposed to be. It's so crazy.
The zags always I like them because they teach people in the hobby that maybe don't know about a lot of the different things. Like, people probably don't even know that existed before you mention it. And then if you keep bringing up all these different things, eventually everyone's going to kind of disperse and figure out what they like.
Exactly. And it's a demand and supply game. So there's a lot more than 300 people that are trying to chase down a PSA 10 photo variation Zion right there, right? So it's pretty fun. But it's hard. It's getting harder and harder. There's not enough zags out there for people that are, I guess, in the hobby and have known the hobby for so long, because now everybody wants to find that zag. But I think it's a great, great concept. I mean, you guys really hit the nail on the head with that for sure.
Can we talk about wax prices? I'm sure you know more than almost anybody about this topic. Is it worrisome yet?
Is it worrisome? Most definitely. I definitely, if there's a bubble that will burst first, in my opinion, it's going to be the price of wax. It's just so difficult. I mean, charging $1,200 for a hobby box of Prism just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, even charging the draft products, the Contenders draft and Chronicles draft and the new products that are coming out, people are looking for something that's affordable, and it is concerning to us because we're getting I've owned this shop for 8.5 years. I bought into the shop before there were breakers, really. Breakers were just being introduced. So we were able to get really good allocations. Even our allocations that are grandfathered in from Panini and Topps and Upper Deck and Leaf, and then all the mega distributors are getting cut. They're getting slashed on every single product. Well, we're getting cut because we used to be able to get it at the original price. Now they're playing the game where they keep stuff, they re-release it a week after the exact release date, and now our charge is basically blow out Dave and Adam card prices. So we either have to make that decision that we're going to pay those premium prices and still have to do a markup, or pass on it. So, I mean, there's a lot of strategic decisions that guys like Ryan, RBI Crew, and Ryan Johnson at Card Collector 2 and Sports Card Junction, all the guys that we talk to a lot on a daily or weekly basis to try to just strategize together as local card shops on wax prices, because we want to provide value for our customers, but we also know that our replacement cost is going to cost probably more than what we were charging them in the first place.
You think it'll come back down after Zion and after the Zion hype, or is this just gonna like
the new stuff that comes out? I predicted it does come down because everybody wants the key rookies, right? I think we had the perfect storm with Trey and Luka in 18-19, Zion and Ja and others in 19-20. You know, I'm looking forward right now at 2021. I don't see anybody that's that kind of a caliber player that people really want to sink their teeth into. But what it's going to do is, yes, that stuff's going to be cheap. It's just going to have the investor side of the world go back to 18-19 and 19-20 and 17-18. I'm a huge Jason Tatum collector. I bought into Tatum early as well, and look at the prices of his stuff now because people are projecting him to be a megastar, right? Their wax prices are just outrageous. So it's all going to be depending on rookies. Rookies drive this market. If soccer, look at soccer for an example, right? People were kind of tired of spending 5 times the cost on a basketball box, so they switched over to soccer. Well, guess what? It didn't even take a year for soccer cards to now be just like 1920 Prism basketball. I mean, this stuff, I don't know how much you follow soccer, Josh, but we can't keep that stuff on our shelves. It is flying off the shelf at decent prices as well.
How about football and basketball, or sorry, baseball?
Yeah, baseball is a consistent. I call baseball the old steady. You know, you have your same guys that want to buy baseball, and it stays very consistent. You don't see major peaks and valleys that like you see with basketball, even soccer. Football is pretty consistent. I say, 2017 had the Mahomes year. It's impossible to find any of that wax, but other than that, it's not like wildfire flying off the shelves. Football is fairly consistent as well, and the peaks and the valleys aren't as crazy either. You can still buy a Prism football hobby box for under $500, which I know it sounds crazy, but compare it to basketball, and you're going to realize, oh, that's a bargain. Yeah, for sure, I'll do that.
Do you think more people will start getting into football?
Again, it goes to a marketplace. Football is a very domestic market because it's obviously just a domestic sport. I know the NFL is trying to make it more international, but it's not going to ever be anything like basketball or soccer. Those two are just international dominant sports, which is why you have a bigger audience buying that kind of stuff. So I really don't see it being like that at all. Not on football.
Let's see some Jordans.
So I try to grab a few that nobody has really seen recently, because I did a couple other interviews that tried to show off a few. But here's one of my favorite newest pickups right here. That would be the 97, 98. Let's see if I can get rid of a good picture right there. Noise Boys, Michael Jordan, and a PSA 9. That is one of my holy grails right there, and it has eluded me for 25 years. No joke, 21 years, whatever it is since it came out. I never got to have a Noise Boys Jordan. Was able to buy it ungraded and came back a 9, so it just made my day. It's a beautiful card. It's die cut. He's got the black jersey, which I'm a big fan of the Jordan black jersey stuff. But this is it's probably one of my top 5 on my Mount Rushmore. I guess top 4, I would say, since Mount Rushmore has 4 presidents, right? But it's definitely in my top 4. The Flair Showcase Hot Shots, I don't know if you've ever heard, but that's my number 1 card because I had that as a kid. I had 2 of them as a kid in 96, 97 when it first came out. That's another one of my Mount Rushmores. This is one of my Mount Rushmores. I don't go by value. I go by what I like and the story behind it. But I really call this card basically one of the first ever true inserts. And everybody's got to have one if you're a Jordan collector. I mean, mine's an 8.5, but it's not so much about the grade. It's about the story to me. And It's the original Scoring Kings with the lightning bolt. It's such a beautiful card. Hard to grade because it's a foil. Got edge issues all the time. But I'm a big Jordan fan on the Scoring Kings because that set the tone for with Jordan inserts. Now we're going to have to hear a dog in the background because I'm out in the backyard doing all this kind of stuff. This was a nice pickup in the last 6 months too. It was a Jordan Big Men on Court Z-Pete. The Z-Pete's a very tough secondary. This is another discussion we can have. You've got the inserts, and then you've got parallels to the inserts. Everybody's always confused on parallels versus inserts, right? So this is a parallel to the insert because it's the Z-Pete version of the Big Men on Court. The insert is the Big Men on Court card, and then this is a little bit more rare to hit. So in a Beckett 9, we're probably talking $1,500 to $2,000 in that range. I'm not sure, but I don't try to value these too much because these are all PC cards anyway. But yeah, Big Men on Court Jordan. This was a fun one. This is an actual parallel. I don't consider this an insert, but you don't pass this one up very often. It's a 97-98 refractor PSA 10 Michael Jordan. That was a new pickup in the last 6 months as well, and I'm a big fan of this card. And I want to thank, I think it was Retro Basketball Breaks that I bought this from. So he took good care of me and added that one to the Jordan PC as well. And thanks to the documentary, this thing doubled or tripled in value as well. So I owe some drinks to Retro Basketball Breaks for buying that one. This one is a sleeper. I was just talking to you about this one before we went live. This one's the 97-98 Fleer Ultra. It's the View to a Thrill Jordan, right? So it's an all black border front and back card. And this is a PSA 10. This one would shock you, Josh. It is a Pop 10 PSA 10. If you look at this card on eBay and look at completed listings of ungraded cards, there's literally like 50 of them, which means it's not rare. This card, when we go back to your interview with David, when we come to perceived rarity versus actual rarity, this is a very rare card in a PSA 10, and I can't believe how cheap it is. I laugh about this because I bought it for, I think I paid straight buy it now on eBay for $4.99 or something like that, $499. If you're telling me I can buy this for $4.99 and there's only 10 that exist, but I have to pay $700 for this in a PSA 10, come on, it's a no-brainer. I will take a Jordan high-end insert with low pop report all day long, and this thing can't go fast enough, in my opinion. So
That's
there's a few fun good ones.
The new collectors need to learn about is pop reports, because I feel like some of the new collectors that come in, they just want the 10s and they're not really concerned with how many there are, when it actually will matter, eventually. Yeah.
I mean, I hate to date things, but what is it, July 12th today that we're doing this interview? I checked the pop reports on this yesterday. There were over 7,500 PSA 10s already of this card. Can you imagine how many cards are still sitting at PSA yet to be graded? There'll be over 10,000 by the end of August or September. It's going to be insane. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a great card. Investors, have a few. Don't have 100 or 200 of them, but have a few and enjoy it. Hopefully watch it grow. So yeah, there's my Michael Jordan most recent PC ads that has never before seen yet.
I'm glad you distinguished the insert versus parallel, because I started with 90s basketball, and people always basically call everything that's 90s basketball inserts, and I'm like, no. There's inserts and there's parallels still. There's just not as many parallels as there is today, so it's a little different.
Exactly. I mean, parallels, if you're thinking parallels, everybody loves the original PMG, right? Yep. That's not an insert. That's a parallel card, because it was the same picture of the base Jordan metal card, and it's the red or the green version, right? Yes. You've got the Skybox Rubies. Rubies are parallels. They're numbered cards, and they have the picture of the original base card that's just a different version of it. Refractors, every single refractor that you can see is a parallel. If it was I'm trying to think, I have the round ball royalty. Remember the round ball royalty set? I have the Jordan refractor in a 10 of that. Well, that's an insert parallel. So good luck. I'm sure we're just confusing people more and more with this interview right now.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any better in the modern stuff. So
it's crazy. But I got to give Panini credit, Josh. I know I'm talking a lot right now, but they're doing a great job of introducing inserts again. In the last 3 to 4 years, I love a lot of the new inserts they're doing. I love the downtown inserts. I love the Kaboom inserts. There's just some cool cards that they've really done a good job of spicing it up. The new Color Blast that came out of Spectra Basketball, gorgeous cards. I cannot believe the prices they're selling for, but absolutely gorgeous cards. So kudos to Panini for really kind of getting that originality back for insert cards, because you're making a guy like myself really happy.
Sure. So David tells me you have stories. I sent you the email before, hoping you'd prep a couple of them. So do you have any ready for us?
So I don't have the physical cards to talk about. I'm going to tell you the two stories that really still to my day. They're fun to have regret stories, right? Everybody has regret stories. The two or three biggest regret stories. I'll start with my guy MJ and LeBron, which is your guy, as we know. Two MJ and LeBron stories really quick. Number one is 2003-04. I am a all-in basketball buyer, right? High end is just getting introduced, and I see, oh, this Ultimate Collection's awesome. I like this. This is really cool. It was fun to open, but now we got LeBron. I opened a box from the local card shop that I now own, and I pulled a LeBron True Auto number 3 of 225. True rookie auto. Had it, kept it for a couple years, got it graded myself. Beckett gave it a 9.510 with quad 9.5 subs. So now that we're out there publicly talking about the big regret stories, anybody that has number 3 of 225 in a 9.510, hit me up, because I think I want to have my card back. Because I personally pulled that card out of a box, a True Auto, and I probably sold it for a couple thousand, thinking I broke the bank, and I was so excited about selling that card. And what is it now? 6 figures probably? Who knows?
Yeah, it's
so crazy.
Those are like 60, 70.
The other big regret was 06, 07. I was on the Exquisite train, buying Exquisite like crazy. Should I shut these windows because we got dogs barking in the background? I don't know how loud it is, but I'm sorry about that. 06, 07, LeBron Jordan dual numbers patch auto to 23. I pulled that card as well. It was both of them were 3-color patches. Again, I don't even want to know what the price is anymore, because it just gives me like ulcers to think about. But I pulled that out of a box of Exquisite basketball in Columbus, Indiana, at a small card shop back in 06, 07. So there's my two big LeBron Jordan regrets. Anybody, again, back to that Ultimate Collection, number 3 of 225. Remember that. Whenever you see it, it's probably somewhere in Asia somewhere that we'll never see again. But hey, it is what it is. My other big one, Josh, that David probably is going to laugh at is I had this hunch back in 2009-10. There was a little product called Topps Basketball coming out, and then it was their last year that they could make it. So they decided to introduce Topps Chrome inside a regular Topps box. I'm like, oh, man, that's pretty rare to get Topps Chromes, and all the base cards are only numbered to $9.99. I'm going to buy a lot of that. I spent $20,000, no joke. I didn't have $20,000, but I was borrowing and stealing to buy this stuff. I opened 15 cases of jumbo and probably 12 to 15 cases of hobby 09-10 Topps basketball. So hindsight's always 20/20, right? I put together 65 base complete sets, 4 complete sets of the gold paper numbered to 2009, 8 base chrome sets, 2 refractor complete sets, and I had 2 Steph Curry gold refractors numbered to 50. So if you want to put a calculator next to my head and just keep adding all that up of how much value is sitting in all that I bought, it makes my stomach queasy every time I think about it. So now, as a card shop owner who's living life in those kind of regrets, I'm going back and trying to buy a PSA 10 base top Steph Curry, and it's like $3,000 or $4,000. I'm thinking I probably had 50 of those.
Oh my gosh!
So,
yeah, I was gonna say
you live life. You don't regret. You just kind of have fun moving on. I mean, again, God's blessed me with some killer collections of cards, and I've had fun with it. But those are some big 3 that David from Riverfront said I had to share. He didn't even know about these stories either. Those are 3 mega stories that I love talking about. There's other ones. We all know there's other ones, but those are some big ones for sure.
The Topps one is tougher because you were right, and you did it. You went all out. You had it. The other ones you pulled, so it's a little bit more understandable.
I mean, yeah, I was totally right about 09-10. But you know what? We weren't chasing Steph Curry in 09-10. We were chasing Blake Griffin and Tyreek Evans. I was so pumped when I got a Tyreek Evans gold refractor. Little did I know this guy named Curry was sitting off to the side, and oh man, hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Man, that's nuts. Well, you pulled the Jordan and LeBron, so let's talk about it.
Okay.
The final topic: Jordan versus LeBron. give me the short elevator pitch for
Well, I've
Jordan.
given you time to prepare, so you're going to be ready for me too. But I go back to, who's the GOAT in football, Josh? Go back to who's the GOAT in football.
Brady or Montana?
It's Brady. I mean, he's got 6 championships. Everybody goes back to that guy won 6 championships. He's the GOAT. I'm a believer in you're the GOAT if you win championships. And Michael Jordan is 6 for 6. I know LeBron's been to 9? Is that right? He's won 3.
Yep.
He's good. LeBron, everybody knows what I call LeBron. Ryan Bannister and I, we have fights all the time. LeBron, in my opinion, is the baby GOAT. Michael Jordan is Papa GOAT. So I am a huge Michael believer. I just don't see LeBron overtaking the GOATness of basketball because Michael set the tone. I mean, you look at that Last Dance documentary, he just had that acumen for winning, for getting the most out of his players, for, basically being cutthroat, as we all know, to the point of people not liking him at all, right? But people wanted Michael to have the ball. Michael wanted to have the ball. Michael made a lot of those shots. Michael demanded attention in every single way, shape, and form on the court. And he wasn't just an offensive powerhouse. The man was a defensive specialist. He was all defensive first team year after year after year after year. He got them to the playoffs almost single-handedly in the late 80s when they didn't win the championships yet. But that man single-handedly had those teams playing in the playoffs. There was nobody else as a supporting cast. Then Scotty comes along. Scotty helps become his like Robin to the Batman, which, again, LeBron, he had Dwayne Wade at the Heat. He's had Kyrie Irving at the Cavs when they've won their championships. So it's not like LeBron single-handedly won these championships either. You have to have a supporting cast, right? But it's just nobody's ever going to convince me that LeBron's greater than Michael. Okay, I'm ready for your pitch.
Well, you're going to be very disappointed because I actually think that they are equal.
Equal, all right. I thought you were going to say he was better than Michael, though.
No. I'm never about that. Actually, the thing that I always argue is that I get really bothered when what Michael Jordan defenders will do is actually put LeBron down to try to bring Jordan above him, and that's not what you did.
LeBron down. No,
that's not what you did. So, I get annoyed when it's like people poke at different things that LeBron does wrong, just to try to elevate Michael above him, and it's just like, and what they're doing actually is they are missing out on what LeBron is doing currently, and you're going to be the one 5 years from now that's like, man, I wish we had LeBron back.
Oh, for sure, no doubt about it. Hindsight's 20/20 on Reddit. Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm okay with putting them on equal playing levels because we can both kind of agree to disagree on that one in a friendly way. But yeah, I'm not one of those that downs LeBron because LeBron, to me, he's the modern era great player, right? And everybody looks up to LeBron. The thing that really kind of made me excited is how much praise LeBron gave Michael during the Last Dance documentary on social media. Again, that tells me, and same with Kobe. I mean, if Kobe were alive to watch the documentary, he probably would have done the same thing on social media. But Kobe and LeBron credit their greatness and credit their playing levels and their, cutthroat ability that they want every ounce of championship material in their DNA to win. They credit that from Michael Jordan. And that's why I always kind of give Michael the GOAT jump a little bit over somebody like LeBron and Kobe.
Yeah, and Jordan was the first to do so many things, like he was the first one to be like a solo superstar.
Yeah.
He was the first like mass marketed player. He made the game international. Like those are things that can't be replicated by anyone.
Yeah.
LeBron's carved out his own legacy off the court as well. So they have a lot of similarities in how they've established their GOATness. And like you said, Jordan was first. You can't like make LeBron be, go before him. So that one will always hold strong.
Think about it from a hobby perspective. What if there was a Jordan rookie upper deck exquisite RPA? I mean, what would you put a value on that? Like the LeBron's going to be what, 1.5 million or something like that potentially. Yeah. What would a Jordan exquisite RPA be? Who knows? But we'll never know. We'll never know.
The BGS 10 Fleer, those don't sell ever, obviously. Yeah. But if that one ever hit open auction, I think it would do something similar, just because it's like Pop 3 and it's like,
agreed.
That's his big rookie card.
I got to witness that. I think it was Brian Gray from Leaf, maybe 5 or 6 years ago at the National, bought one of the BGS 10s for $100,000 cash. That's what he paid for it. because a PSA 10 was probably 10 grand, 11 grand, something like that back in the day. And he paid 100 grand cash for a BGS 10. I don't know if he still has it or if he used it for one of his products or what, but I got to witness that transaction. It was crazy.
That's a huge card. I mean,
No
yeah,
doubt.
10x the PSA 10, so it's at least 500K
sure.
now. I think it would be even bigger just with all the craze around, like rookie base cards right now. That's like the ultimate rookie base card.
I couldn't agree more. It's massive. I'm happy with my PSA 9. I'm not even going to chase a PSA 10 or a Beckett 10, but PSA, because 86 Fleer I didn't even collect because I hadn't started collecting as a kid. I was 8 years old. So to me, I want to have a PSA 10 of all the early Fleers except for the rookie, just because of the cost aspect. Since it's a collectible, I have a second year PSA 10, 88 Fleer PSA 10, but when you get back to 86 Fleer PSA 10s, they're a little bit out of my budget range to want as a collection.
Yeah, especially when they're heading towards 100K with the Last Dance.
Right. No doubt.
That's all I got. Any final words of wisdom for our audience?
Have fun with the hobby. When it becomes strictly business or strictly about making money, it's not as fun to have fun with it. That's probably my number one advice, because yes, I'm a business. Yes, I'm a local card shop. I thrive on, or I need to make money to support my family and stuff. But man, every day I walk into that place, I pinch myself because I love this hobby so much. And I want to see people have the same feelings that I've had for 35 years, 31 years, whatever it is. I'm dating myself. I don't want to be that old yet. But yeah, I just enjoy it. Guys like you are making this hobby stronger, more fun, more transparent. So I can't thank you enough, Josh, for what you do, and keep up with the new Card Ladder project. It's amazing. And we really appreciate everything you're doing. And last thing is support your LCS, because we're a dying breed. We are a dying breed. We're having fun with it. But man, I can't believe how big online breaking is. I think it's 70 to 75% of the overall revenue of the market right now. That's what GTS told me. So we're doing our best to survive and have fun. We want those face-to-face interactions with everybody who walks in our shop, create that relationships, and remember that it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Well, I will say the guys that are left from the LCS world, you guys are some of the best in the hobby, the nicest guys that I encounter, the most helpful and friendly. So I don't think it's I don't think it's by accident that you guys are the ones holding strong here. So appreciate everything you guys do for the hobby.
Thanks, man. You guys help us out, and we appreciate all that as well.
All right. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Josh.